I was coming home from taking a train for a work trip and it was 11. I would usually travel the next day, but had to be home early for a family thing. The train station where I lived at the time was outside and had no security whatsoever, so granted I was already a little bit on edge. After waiting for Uber all alone, I was relieved to see my Uber driver. He had an accent and was from a Middle Eastern country, and the first thing he asked was if I was too. We often get mistaken for being different nationalities, so it felt normal. I probably said no, and at first everything was normal. I made small talk since the drive was long. But then he started making odd comments saying I was beautiful, asking if I had an American boyfriend and if my parents wanted to be married. I dodged his questions, and then, as we were 5 minutes away from my parents' apartment, he asked if I was doing anything that night. It was a Friday. I said no, and I didn't plan on it. He then asked if I lived alone. I do, but I was getting scared, so I said I had 3 roommates, and they were expecting me. That seemed to make him stop, and he remained silent the whole ride. I then get to know if I had a package. Unfortunately, my apartment would charge if you didn't retrieve the packages after a certain time frame. As soon as we reached my apartment, I get out and use my key card to go to the package room, which was in a separate room from my apartment entrance. I look outside and he's still parked out front looking around. The way my apartment works is that you have to go outside to go to actual entrances. One entrance has stairs, the other with the elevator was in the parking garage. I take a deep breath, holding my package, and start to run. He gets out and starts to run, chasing me. Using my key card, I make it to the stairs entrance and slam the door and run up the stairs. As I get into my room, I look out my window and saw him still outside his car. Being on the 3rd floor, my lights were on, and he looked right at my window. He stayed parked the whole night, and then eventually drove away. I reported him on Uber and was extremely cautious the whole week. I still don't know what he was planning to do, and I'm grateful my parents made me do running as a kid. So creepy Uber driver, let's never meet again. Someone was hiding in the darkness while we were skinny dipping. That night I was hanging out with 3 friends, Sarah, Nick, and Mary. We were celebrating his birthday at his place, which happened to have a hot tub in the backyard. After a couple hours and a couple too many beers, we jokingly suggested skinny dipping in the hot tub as some kind of birthday present. We would probably stop there if it wasn't for our drunkenness, so we did eventually say, fuck it, let's do it. Now for context. Nick's house was by a forest and was very isolated from neighbors. Adding to that, it was maybe past midnight and anything past the Christmas lights, of dubious quality, that were spread around the yard, was basically pitch black. Going out there without Nick's parents' home would have been unimaginable if it hadn't been for the wonders of inebriation. So semi-reluctantly, I followed my friends into the night with a towel on my shoulder. We reached the hot tub that was worryingly close to the edge of the woods, and we started stripping. Everything was fine for the next 30 minutes or so, apart from the occasional branch cracking. We were having fun, telling stories, or rambling about some stupid shit, and the fear quickly faded away. That was until a deafening shriek came from the darkness of the forest, lasting for about 5 seconds. It sounded like a human voice, but it almost didn't sound like a person. We all turned livid, became silent for what felt like hours. Even so, we didn't dare try to look into the forest, except Mary, who just grew a pair of balls out of nowhere and picked up her phone to use the flashlight. We couldn't help but follow the light she pointed it at the forest. We seemed unaffected by it, as if the darkness was swallowing it. Nothing. As we were about to stop looking, though, the void stared back at us. Mary shined her light far behind Sarah, and it reflected on a pair of eyes and a white form in the distance. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. We rushed out of the tub without even giving a single thought about gathering our clothes. Mary and I screamed. Apparently her balls had been blown to smithereens, and we all ran forward back entrance as fast as possible. Nick immediately got a knife while we locked every door and window. We didn't call Nick's parents, the police, or anyone. But our phones were over by the forest where we left them. Seeing no other choice, Nick put shoes on and made a run for it. He managed to get his phone. We heard loud breathing coming from the forest, meaning whatever it was hadn't left. What followed were the shittiest 2 hours of my life. Nick's guy's parents to make their way home, handed us towels so we could finally cover ourselves. We gathered in the basement, where there were no windows. We spent most of the time in silence, waiting for something to happen. Half an hour in, we heard another shriek, more distant. By this time, shortly followed by knocks on the door that couldn't possibly be Nick's parents. Sarah actually started crying, but thankfully it stopped after that. Parents arrived and allowed us to sleep in the basement for safety. They hadn't heard or seen anything and were pretty sure we just imagined stuff. We hardly slept, and once the morning came, we went out to wear Nick's shirt and Sarah and Mary's panties. I wasn't wearing any that night. So that left us with two possible scenarios. A weird, pale-ass pervert spied on us in an isolated area deep in the woods, or whatever other creepy shit roams in there to decide to spook us. My friends went to Mexico for a vacation and asked me to house sit and take care of their dogs while they were gone. They paid me $40 a day just to sit around and let the dogs out when they need to go. I am disabled, so that helps a lot. This is a semi-rural area, and houses are roughly a quarter-mile apart. Police have to come from town 15 miles away, and response time can be well over an hour. I always take my pistol with me. It's always been quiet when I've stayed there. This time was different. I was in the shower when the dogs started barking and growling. They are big, large German Shepherds, and one is actually police trained. The owners loan him to county as a drug dog, and if you tell them to be quiet, they obey. This time they didn't. So I went on high alert. I shut off the water and looked out the window. I didn't see anything. But when I walked out of the bathroom, I saw a shadow go across the bedroom window. They have lights around the house that stay on all night. I whispered to the dogs to hush, and they did. That's when I heard a man's voice. I couldn't make out everything he was saying, but I distinctly heard two words. Come around. So I'm sure there was more than one person. I ran to the living room with my pistol, saw the door handle turn. I yelled, I have a gun, and I will fucking use it. I heard feet run away. I was telling Siri to dial 911 and got the county sheriff fast. She said there were two cars on another call not far away. It would take about 20 minutes for them to get there. It was better than the usual hour, so I was pretty shaken. I explained that I was on a farm, would have to go down to the road and unlock the cattle gate to let them in. And to please tell the officers that I would be carrying a pistol, and please don't shoot me by mistake, because I was not going outside the house without it. The dispatcher said, oh no, do not go out there without your gun. I will tell them. The good thing about living in a red state. She asked if I could see the road, and I can. So she said to wait in the house until I saw blue lights. I hung up, called my friends in Mexico. Their camera footage can be downloaded via app, and they said they would go through it while I waited for the cops. I locked the house and went down to the gate when the police arrived. They searched the whole place, including the barn, but didn't find anyone. While they were looking, my friends texted me the camera footage. There was a man on the porch. Unfortunately, the cameras were not angled to get a shot of his face. And it was, of course, dark. I still think there was more than one creep because of what he said. Come around. The police were very nice and said they had passed a man on a bike on the way, which is strange for this area, especially at night, went to look for him, but that's all they could do. They took a full report but never caught the creep. My husband came and stayed with me for the rest of their trip. One other neighbor said he found a tent and some gear in the woods a few weeks before. So somebody was living back there, maybe a homeless person from town. I have house set again since then, and it was quiet. They're going away again for Christmas, and I will be there again. A lot of people ask me if I would have shot the creep had he broke in. Yes, absolutely. I'd be sorry if I had to hurt somebody, but if it's them or me, yeah. Creepy porch guy, let's not ever meet again.